Mr. Speaker, will you please call the House to order?
The bill is passed.
We'd like to get a budget that represents the interests of the people who are standing here with me now.
To be part of the struggle to achieve a better society for all.
Hello and welcome to Assembly Update. I'm Liz Koenig. Today we're going to be discussing several topics, including the MTA and two proposed constitutional amendments. And joining me to discuss these topics is our guest, Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, who represents the 81st Assembly District in the Bronx.
Good morning, and a beautiful morning it is.
It's like springtime here
It's
in Albany.
unbelievable.
I know. I think we might pay for this, though. It's still February, so fingers crossed.
True.
So, but the budget process is moving along. We're in the middle of budget hearings, some long days and into the evening. But we want to focus today on the MTA portion of the budget. What is your view on the MTA?
Everybody hates the MTA, we know that. But the truth is the trains and buses are so important to the city, and particularly to the Bronx, of course. And that's how people get around for the most part, and the people say it's the lifeblood of the city, and they're not wrong. If the trains and buses don't work, then business won't work. The MTA is facing a big deficit. They lost a lot of money as a result of the pandemic. Ridership plummeted. There was a point in time when nobody was taking the trains, and buses were free. Buses were free for a while. Something which many people have advocated for, and it actually worked. But right now, ridership is going up, but it's not nearly where it needs to be. So as a result of that, the MTA is facing big deficits, and the governor has made some proposals to try to address that. She's raised the payroll tax it's called the mobility tax, on the count. I think it's 12 counties in the MTA region, just by a little bit, but it'll bring in a lot of revenue. They're hoping in the future that congestion pricing brings in money, and that's for capital projects. But right now, we need to address the fact that we need money. I don't want to see the fare raised. Right now, it's $2.75 for a single ride. Some people think it should go up to $3, and that doesn't sound like a lot to many people, but to some people, it's a lot. But we have to have recurring sources of revenue. Different proposals are out there. From my perspective, I've always fought particularly hard for better bus service because while, of course, many of my constituents take the train downtown, whether it's the 1, the 2, the 4 train, probably a larger share of people use the buses within the district and to get across the Bronx. There are no trains that go across the Bronx. It's you're talking about buses if you don't drive a car. And we need more buses. We need better service. Do I think the buses should be free? Yeah, actually, I do think that. Because I think that'll encourage more ridership, and it'll be a great economic benefit to the city. For people, especially for people who are, have lower income. Right now, many people qualify for the Fair Fares program, which basically gives you a half fare, kind of like what seniors are eligible for. And that's been tremendous for people in terms of enabling them to get to places, go to work, go to, medical appointments, and so on. So would it be in our interests? I've always felt that way. That's what it should be, but I don't know that that's happening immediately. There is a package of bills designed to be supportive of the MTA and of mass transit in the city of New York. And one of the bills in that package is one of my bills, which would involve having 4, I guess, citizen, activist, riders type people being appointed to the MTA board, so that the board contains not just the type of people who have traditionally been appointed, some of whom are terrific, some of whom are not quite as terrific, but people who are actually riders, people who understand what everybody else goes through. I mean, it wouldn't be me. I don't take the trains downtown. I work in the neighborhood, but there, you know, many people do, and it's so important for New York. So we have to find the funding for the MTA. The deficit they're facing on their operating budget is substantial this year, and it's going to continue to grow over the next few years, and that would be an economic disaster if we don't address that issue.
Now, how far apart are the Assembly and the Governor on funding for the MTA?
Well, I wouldn't say we're far apart at all, in the sense that the governor has put forth her proposals, and we are in the middle of discussing the proposals, and then we are going to come back with our own set of proposals within the next several weeks, and as will the Senate, and then there'll be positions that the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor have taken, and we just got to kind of put it all together.
Hopefully on time, right?
Hopefully on time.
But we'll see. So let's talk about a bill that the governor signed of yours, which deals with the misuse of the word independence.
So for a number of years, there was, and I emphasize the word was, a political party in New York called the Independents. That's INDEPENDENCE, Independence Party. And many people felt that the name was deliberately chosen to confuse people. And the proof was that most people who registered in that party thought they were registering as independent voters, meaning non-aligned, people that are commonly referred to as blanks, meaning that they don't have a political party. So people were members of this Independence Party, that's ENCE, but when they thought they were independents, ENTS. And that was true for so many years. And so the people who controlled the party had a party line to, I don't want to say give away, but I don't want to say sell, but they were able to give the endorsement to people, and it had an impact on some elections. Well, we have laws in New York that prevent the use of certain types of words as part of the name of a political party. For example, I think United States or America. There are some names that can't be part of a political party. And so the bill that Senator Skoufis and I advocated for and was successful added the word independent and also added the word independence as names of political parties that can no longer happen. And it was signed into law by the governor. It takes effect this year. So if this group that formerly was the Independence Party, and they didn't even get enough votes last time to have ongoing ballot status the way the Democrats, Republicans, Conservatives, and Working Families parties do, but if they did, they would have to do it under a different name, one that is less deceiving to the voters. We want voters to know, to know what's going on. We don't want them to be deceived by a name of a party.
Absolutely. Now let's move on and talk about two constitutional amendments that you're sponsoring. One deals with legislators moving out of their districts.
Right. So under the state constitution, in order to run, say, for assembly, you have to live in the state for 5 years, and you have to live in the district for 1 year before you could run. And then in a redistricting year, you have to live in the county, and you have basically a year to move within the district. But the Constitution doesn't specifically say you have to stay in the district. So you could be elected to the Assembly or the State Senate, complying with that constitutional rule, in which everybody needs to do. But then you can move out of the district that you represent, that the voters elected you to, and there's no. You serve out your term. Well, that doesn't seem like an appropriate thing. So what the amendment does, it's really very straightforward. If a legislator does move out of her or his district, then they give up their seat. I mean, if you want to represent people, you should live there. You should be able to vote for yourself. And if you don't live there anymore, you can't vote for yourself. So it's pretty straightforward, and I can't imagine who would oppose that, but we'll find out soon enough.
Absolutely. Now, the other one raises the retirement age for judges.
Yes. So the retirement age in New York State for judges is 70. Now, I'm sure there are many people out there who would say, "Oh, I don't want to work till I'm 70. I want to retire when I'm 62." And that's fine for the people who want to do that. But right now, the retirement age is 70, but state Supreme Court justices actually can be extended 2 years at a time through the age of 76. But a couple of years ago, the court system, the Office of Court Administration, the chief judge, there are many judges who were in that position where they were working beyond 70. It's called certification. But then they axed, AXED, 47 judges. This was during the pandemic, at a time when the courts were backed up. They exacerbated the delays and everything by firing 47 judges for no other reason than they were at least 70 years old. Not everybody should work past 70. Some people may not have the physical ability or the mental ability. That's possible in some cases, but not in most cases. Many of those judges were restored ultimately because I think the court system realized what a blunder they made with such a bad thing that they did. So my proposed constitutional amendment is simply to allow judges to work until 76. I'm sure that if we have a president of the United States who's doing a tremendous job, in my opinion, who's 80 years old, we can have people serve as judges until they're 76. 76 is like the new 50. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, I think so.
When this 70-year-old rule was written decades ago, people didn't live as long, people didn't work as long. Things have changed. And so for the judges who are capable of continuing to serve and who want to serve, of course we would like them to stay. We don't need to have fewer judges, especially at a time when we're still recovering from the horrible delays and backups which were exacerbated by the pandemic.
Now, I know the budget is the big focus right now. What other pieces of legislation are you working on at this time?
Oh my God!
So many. I know.
I have so many. I would say that the biggest areas where I have, I guess, the most bills are included in consumer affairs. I have some election law bills, a number of bills in the Codes Committee, which I chair, and a number of bills actually in committees that I formally chaired. So I have a number of bills in the Judiciary Committee and the Corporations Committee. But one thing I'm laser focused on this year is legislation that deals with climate change. It's called the Climate Change Superfund Act, which would raise $75 billion over a period of 25 years, $3 billion a year, which wouldn't involve a penny of tax hikes. How is that possible? Because it would take money from the oil companies, the polluters, the ones who caused climate change in the first place, and then denied its existence and lied about it. And why is that reasonable? Because last year, the oil companies such as ExxonMobil, Shell, and the other big U.S. oil companies, they alone profited, not income, but actual profit, over $200 billion last year. And that doesn't take into account oil companies like, that are based in other countries. To hundreds of billions of dollars. This bill would take $3 billion, and it wouldn't raise prices at the pump, and it wouldn't raise taxes.
Good news. Thank you very much.
If we can get it passed.
That's right. We've been speaking with Assemblymember Jeffrey Dinowitz, who represents the 81st Assembly District in the Bronx. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.